Okay, let's get started. Just some introductory comments as if you take out your agenda. A few things we wanted to note. This is like a lot of logistics. Normally our lunch and breakout sessions were an hour each. We've shortened them to 50 minutes. We also have the agenda online. We are capturing sessions, the AV as well as presentations are all logged online. Ophir, where's Ophir? We have a glitch in the, is it fixed?
I am working on it and I promise to have it on in 10 minutes.
Okay, so you can go to the link here to look for the presentations, but as soon as you click on a presentation, you get a Google Drive message. So Ophir is working on that. We are going to try online Q&A. You can still ask questions the old-fashioned way by raising your hand, but if you want to ask a question at any time during the presentation that has Q&A, you can, and basically every presentation has a Q&A slot after my talk and Dan's talk today. All the others have a Q&A time set aside for them. Anytime during a session, you can put a Q&A into the Slido application. We'll put up the Slido screen at the Q&A period in each session. You can upvote other people's questions. You can downvote them too. But we do ask that you log in Slido so the questions aren't anonymous, just as they wouldn't be if you stood up in the room to ask a question. We'll archive the Q&A at the end of each session, so any questions we didn't get a chance to answer, we're going to try and answer them later. We'll have to coordinate, obviously, with some speakers, but I'm sure that there are always more questions than we get a chance to answer. So give it a try. There are gifts on the tables for you. There's also something we call a partners pub at the end of the day today. It's a happy hour. It's a time to meet with each of our partners, and there is a raffle. If you visit all the partners, get a stamp on your raffle card. You can enter your raffle card. And there's some fantastic gifts, I have to say. If you're an Apple Watch, an Apple AirPods, and a 50-pound Apple gift card. I didn't even know Apple did gift cards. And there's a buffet dinner following the Partner Pub time. We put a lot into the day and a two-thirds meeting agenda, but not everything can fit. We can't cover all the topics that are possible for all of our products. So if you need information about any of the products that are up here, our services, and there's not a chance for that to appear on the agenda, contact any of the product managers. The whole product management team is here at the meeting. Any of them can either cover one of these topics or get you to someone who can. There's as usual, this is a publishers meeting, publishers S apostrophe. There are more of you out there speaking than there are HighWire people speaking. I really appreciate how many of our colleagues are willing to make presentations at this talk. They are often industry leaders in the topic they're presenting, and it's great to hear from them directly. We have a really good list of partners here. 7 of our partners, colleagues are here with us today. Please have a chance to talk to them at breaks and over the dinner. Your printed meeting packet is your friend. At least it is still for me to look at the printed version of the meeting packet. I've asked that please pay particular attention to the meeting evaluation. Dan and I look over the meeting evaluations right after the meeting. We'd love to get them in electronic form. If you can do that, great. But there's plain old-fashioned paper is also available for the meeting evaluation. Either way, it's great. The next HighWire meeting is the DC meeting. Now, obviously, many of you would not be going to the DC meeting. We wanted to put the date out there. I also wanted to comment on the FAQ for this meeting is why June? Well, we originally scheduled it for May, and then there was a royal wedding scheduled for the same time. We thought that's probably not good for hotels in London. I don't actually know whether the royal wedding had much to do with hotel rates in London, but we thought it best to avoid it. And then we landed on top of World Cup soccer. So we're going to make sure that tomorrow you're out of here in time to watch England. I heard it was at 7 p.m. tomorrow is World Cup soccer. So you'll be done long before then. There are, when we put our London and DC meetings so close together, they're only separated by 2 months. We generally try to cover many of the same topics. However, there are always some differences because of speakers. There's a list of things that you only are going to see here and here in London. That's on the left of the page. And in DC, we'll have 4 talks that are not going to be in today's session. If you're interested in the slides of the presentations on the right, go ahead and send me an email or let your account manager know, and we'll let you know when the slide decks from the DC meeting in late August are available so that you'll have that information as well. If you're going to the London Book Fair, we have a booth. And please visit us there. There are badge colors, as always, and in particular, I'd like to ask that people who have the green badges, first-time attendees, you extend some hospitality to them and welcome them and introduce yourself to them so they'll get to meet more of the rest of our community at HighWire. And that's it. So over to Dan for the first talk. So what I found is if you put this on here, it doesn't work so well.
Oh, okay. Thanks, John. How's this microphone? Can you guys all hear me well? We got a different mic than the one John was just using. Good? Excellent. Okay, great. Well, first of all, thank you, John, for the introduction, and thanks all of you for taking the time to spend the next 2 days here. We recognize that taking 2 days out of your busy schedule is meaningful, and we appreciate you making that dedication to come here and spend the time. And a special thank you in advance to those of you who are speaking at the conference. We know from experience that it goes a lot of time and effort to prepare for this, so we greatly appreciate you offering your expertise in presenting. I'm going to, over the next 20-30 minutes, spend time sharing with you 2 different areas. One is some highlights over the last 12 months since we had our last conference. And then I also want to share with you some interesting examples of how other publishers are using the HighWire Intelligent Platform to do some creative things. So first of all, I want to share with you some new customers that have joined the HighWire family. And I'll just give you a quick profile on each one of these. The Commonwealth Scientific and Industrial Research Organization is in Australia. It's the federal government agency for scientific research. They employ about 5,000 people in 50 different locations around the world, so in many respects they are very much a global organization. They currently have about 550 books and are adding about 35 new titles per year. Hayati, Journal of Biosciences, they're leveraging our peer review and submission system, BenchPress, as well as hosting with JCOR. They are an international peer-reviewed open access journal, and they left a large commercial publisher because they were looking to bring back in-house some of their capabilities and have more independence over the revenue generation capability as well as their brand identity. Ochsner Foundation. Ochsner is part of the Ochsner healthcare system. the leading non-for-profit healthcare provider, and they left a competitive platform. They were looking for improved support experience specifically and improved operational capabilities, so they are hosting with us on JCOR. The American Society of Anesthesiologists, in that situation, the editor-in-chief wanted to gain some insights into the movement of their impact factor and specifically understand why their impact factor has dropped a little bit. So one of the areas that they were particularly interested in is what was happening to high-impact articles that they had been rejecting, and being able to follow up on exactly where those articles had ended up and whether they should be changing some of their editorial decisions perhaps. So they're leveraging our Advisors product to gain those analytics and insights. The American Society of Clinical Laboratory Sciences, they were organized in 1933 under the mission of trying to have a positive impact on healthcare through leadership that will assure excellence in the practice of laboratory medicine. They evaluated the marketplace and in their words, saw HighWire as a best-in-class solution comprehensively from technology, but also from a services and relationship perspective. And they're leveraging our peer review and submission system, BenchPress, as well as hosting their content on JCOR. The American Society of Civil Engineers, they represent over 150,000 members of the civil engineering profession in 177 countries. They were founded in 1852, which makes them the oldest engineering professional association in the United States. They currently publish over 35 journals. The International Society for Hair Restoration Surgery, they have about 1,200 members in over 70 countries worldwide. They were looking for a redesign to update and elevate the overall look of their journal site, including enhancing the end-user experience. They're looking for a very clean UI and layout along with standard template options that JCOR provides. They were also interested in increasing discoverability. The International Society for the Advancement of Science Spine Surgery owns and publishes the International Journal of Spine Surgery, and they also made a move from a large commercial publisher. They wanted to redeploy some of the resources internally that they were expending to manage the publishing process and dedicate those more towards taking control back of their sales and marketing efforts. They felt that the revenue generation they could do on their own was going to be superior to what they had experienced. So they chose HighWire, and they've redeployed those resources to bring back into house their own sales and marketing effort, and are well down that path. The International Anesthesia Research Society was founded in 1922, and they were looking for a tool that they could use with their editors to help evaluate and inform editorial planning, and they're leveraging our Advisors Analytics suite to do so. So again, welcome to all of those new customers. We're very pleased to have them in the HighWire family. I'm also wanted to share with you an award that we won recently, which I think is a great credit to our product group as well as to our development group. A well-respected award that's given out to technology companies is called a Cody Award. Hopefully many people have heard of that in the past, but it's a long-standing, well-respected technology award. And HighWire won it for having the best business intelligence reporting and analytics solution. So Advisors won that award. The bottom picture here, we can see Jim Longo. Jim's our VP of product, sitting in the back left corner, and Jim graciously accepted the award on behalf of HighWire at a ceremony in San Francisco just within the last 3 weeks. So a very recent win, something we're very proud of, and really pleased to be providing this award-winning technology. Our partnerships and our partnership ecosystem are a core part of our innovation strategy. Whenever we are looking at introducing a new capability, we have a few avenues that we can choose. One is to build it ourselves. The second one is to go out and buy that technology or to buy the company. And the third option is to partner. All of those avenues are valuable, and all of those avenues are important and viable options for us as we're looking at delivering those new capabilities. When we decide to partner for that technology, we're very careful to select who we think are the industry-leading partners in that area. So we're incredibly proud of the partners that we have in our ecosystem. And today we've got 3 new partners here that I wanted to just give you a little bit of quick information on. PSI is here. Where are the PSI folks? There we go. And PSI helps out with intrusion detection and making sure that they're limiting subscriber abuse. We also have the folks from PubGrade. The folks from PubGrade here? So in concert with the HighWire intelligent platform, PubGrade provides a great advertising solution, contextual and behavioral advertising to help optimize revenues. Oops. And then we also have Hypothesis. I know Heather's here. Hypothesis in the back. Hi, Heather. And Hypothesis is a great annotation solution that also enables efficient workflow capabilities also. So very excited to have all three partners here joining the ecosystem. And this evening there's going to be something called a partner pub, which will be held at the end of the day. It's a very nice, relaxed environment, gives you the chance to socialize with the partners that I just mentioned, as well as other partners that John referenced earlier on. So that's going to be set up, I believe, in a courtyard outside later today in a very relaxed environment, give you a chance to engage with those partners if you would like to learn more from them. We have a number of new products and enhancements that are going to be discussed. I'm not going to cover those today. Jim Longo will be covering those in his session happening later on today as he walks through the roadmap. I believe that's at 1:10 today. And you'll have other members of the HighWire team and some publishers speaking about their experiences with these products. But I will not, again, cover them in any detail right now. I'll leave that to the team, but I did want to highlight this for you and raise attention to the fact that you'll be hearing about these products and capabilities later on. Two that I would like to whet your appetite on a little bit. One of them is an initiative around allowing manuscripts to be exchanged more freely amongst peer review and submission systems. This is the Manuscript Exchange Common Approach, something that HighWire took a leadership position on. You'll be hearing Bernd Pulverter from EMBO speak. I believe that he's going to be speaking tomorrow at 11:55 p.m. or a.m. Sorry, and you're going to hear him talk about a very unique alliance that Cold Spring Harbor, Rockefeller University Press, and EMBO had formed to take advantage of that technology. So again, look forward to that session tomorrow. The Manuscript Exchange Common Approach solves a very serious problem in allowing these manuscripts to be exchanged freely, so that once the submission has been rejected from the first particular publisher, the author doesn't have to go through that whole entire resubmission process again. It also helps to save about 15 million hours estimated a year on duplicate reviews. So it solves a couple of fairly large problems. And again, look forward to Bernd's speech tomorrow on this. The other area which I wanted to whet your appetite on as well is a CASA initiative. This is an off-campus access initiative which we enlisted the support of Google to solve a very big problem of providing off-campus access to content. We know that that's been a driving force for people going to sites such as Sci-Hub. So we've worked very hard to create a seamless solution. The great news is, and you'll hear, I believe Kenneth is going to be talking about this tomorrow, Kenneth Gleason tomorrow at 11:20 a.m. The great news is the publisher, you have to do nothing. The users have to do nothing. This is included in the HighWire platform and it costs nothing. So this is just a great upgrade to the overall platform, solving a very big problem in the marketplace. So look forward to Kenneth's presentation tomorrow at 11:20 a.m. to hear more about what we're doing with CASA and how we led that initiative with Google. From an innovation perspective, one of the things we continue to spend a lot of time and effort and investment on is making sure that we have systems that have high availability and also run quickly. Those are both very important. Uptime we view that as just basic investment protection. If you invest a lot of time and effort to make sure that your site is highly discoverable, provides a great user interface and great user experience, that investment could be for naught if the site wasn't available. So we make sure that we provide extremely high availability, and it's something that we focus on a daily basis. I'm very proud of what the team has done and been able to deliver, because not only are we leading our industry in terms of uptime, but quite frankly, we're leading every industry. Our sites across the board are up 99.98 to 99.99% of the time. That means that we have 1 to 2 minutes of downtime a week. If you take a look at the 3 largest hosting providers in the world, those are Google, Amazon, and Microsoft. We're outperforming all 3 of those, who literally spend billions of dollars on their infrastructure. So again, this is truly world-class leading uptime, and it's very important, something that we'll continue to focus on. It's not something that we want you to ever have to think about. By the way, just as I present these next few slides, I've had a number of publishers in the past ask for these slides and be happy to provide them to you. The reason they've asked for them is they've armed their sales and marketing and account managers so that when they're speaking with your customers, they can share the solid platform that you're leveraging to provide their content, provide them with content. So if any of you would like that, please just ask one of the HighWire folks, ask myself, and we'll be happy to give you these 3 or 4 slides, and you can edit them and make them your own and arm your sales and marketing folks and account managers if you wish. Speed is also really important. There's a very well understood correlation between page loading time and abandonment from a site. So clearly, to drive internal discovery, a big objective is to create stickiness on the site. About 4-second delay in page load time can equal up to 25% abandonment. Now, for researchers who absolutely need your content, fine, they'll bear through it. They might not be happy with the experience, but they also might be encouraged in the future to go to a site like Sci-Hub because, quite frankly, they find that the site's just a little bit faster, and that's absolutely not something that you or we want to have happen. What we do want to do is make sure that the site is running incredibly quickly so they have a great user experience and they're not abandoning. The searcher, or the people who are just going into the site to search for things and going through a discovery process, those folks absolutely are at risk of abandonment, and those people are very sensitive to the speed of the system. So that's the audience that we also have to be very attentive towards. Industry average or industry best practice is to have a load time of between 2.5 and 3 seconds. What we do is focus on having a load time that's about 5 times faster than the industry best practice. So again, kind of boring, mundane things, but quite frankly, they're incredibly important, and I just want you to know that's something that we continue to focus on and put a lot of time and investment in, because without uptime and without great speed, a lot of the other things that we put effort towards collectively would not be protected from an investment standpoint. So this is incredibly important work that we focus on a regular basis, and we'll continue to. We also do this at great volume. The HighWire platform manages about 200 million interactions per month. That adds up to about 4,700 transactions per minute. So it's designed to provide that speed and uptime at great scale and has the ability to continue to scale. I want to take a couple of minutes and just talk about the HighWire Intelligent Platform. This is something that I'm going to be referencing in some customer examples in a few minutes, and I wanted to just make sure we're kind of level set on the HighWire Intelligent Platform. As we looked at the industry, this is going back over 2 years ago, we saw that there were 2 distinct phases in publishing platforms. The first phase started in 1995, and that was really just the conversion of print to digital. And in that conversion, we were, quite frankly, one of the leaders in that first phase. The second phase started in around 2004, 2005, and that was focused on optimizing the digital footprint, so focusing on the UI, carousels, making sure that you're improving discoverability, all the good work that goes into making the footprint better and providing a better user experience. And there's been a lot of good work done over the years in that area, and we would suggest that most of the industry is still in that phase 2. But quite frankly, that the value of that has probably been squeezed out pretty thoroughly, and in the last few years, I think probably the industry in general has been tweaking their way to success a little bit by trying to continue to optimize the digital footprint. We saw an opportunity and believe that the next phase, which we have kicked off with the HighWire Intelligent Platform, is absolutely about weaving intelligence and evidence-based data throughout the entire publishing lifecycle. So we launched the HighWire Intelligent Platform back in May of 2017. That was done after 18 months of hard work, which we didn't pre-announce. It was something that we just worked in the background for 2 reasons. One is, I think that a lot of technology vendors, probably ourselves included in the past, talked about things in the future and didn't necessarily deliver them as they were discussed. So we wanted to just make sure that we were delivering something and not necessarily selling it in advance, but just delivering it and surprising the market with it. And secondly, we didn't feel the need to tip off any of our competitors on what we were doing, quite frankly. We think it's that important. The HighWire Intelligent Platform, by bringing evidence-based data throughout the publishing lifecycle, allows you to do a number of things. Personalization, by understanding your users much better. What type of content is working well with your users? By virtue of understanding which content is the most important and what is reacting well with your users, you can also uniquely identify who are the authors that you may wish to form a relationship with and retain and attract. Unlocking key revenue opportunities by leveraging products such as Usage Visor and see who are people that are coming in and bouncing off the paywall, but also being able to offer, because you understand your users better, offer custom collections and other types of content that may be of interest to them or related to their types of content that they've been looking for in the past. It also allows you to inform editorial decisions a little bit differently with more insights and greater information about the types of decisions that you're making. One specific example that I mentioned earlier on was the rejected article tracker. Being able to understand when you're rejecting articles, where do they go? Do they become a high impact article at one of the competitive journals? Is that enough content to justify creating a cascade journal or leveraging it in some other way? So those are all some of the things that you can accomplish with the HighWire Intelligent Platform. When we launched the platform, about 2 days after we launched it, we had an interview with Outsell, and they took a look at the offering, and we were quite flattered and humbled with the response that they had, which essentially was saying that the HighWire Intelligent Platform resonates strongly with market needs. Again, we believe that this is the third phase, and we're boldly leading that third phase in providing this type of intelligence throughout the publishing lifecycle, and we'll continue to expand on that vision. All of the modules of the Intelligent Platform are designed to work together and also work independently. So as an example, you could take our Impact Visor product or a Usage Visor product, and you could run that independently. We have over 40 customers who are using the technology today, and that could be deployed and work just fine on its own. But when you combine that technology with some of the other modules within the HighWire Intelligent Platform, such as hosting capability or peer review and submission with BenchPress, you start to get a situation where 1 + 1 equals greater than 2. You start to gain insights across the broader publishing lifecycle, which again give you more than just the individual parts. So it's designed to be able to deploy at your leisure, module at a time, but across the entire suite of products. They are designed to work together and provide greater insights and so on across the entire publishing lifecycle. And that lifecycle that I referred to starts with very early on in the process, meeting abstracts, preprint servers, peer review and submission, hosting, analytics, e-commerce, identity management and access control. So it's a very broad suite. If not all of the components of the suite are familiar to you, please feel free to talk to your account manager or anyone from HighWire to get a little bit more insight into what the different components of the HighWire Intelligent Platform are and what type of value that it can deliver to you in your organization. This really should be something that we're making sure all of you are familiar with, so you can leverage the appropriate components to make sure that you're driving your business forward in the most effective and efficient manner. So I want to provide some examples of how some publishers are creatively using the Intelligent Platform. So Cochrane Library. The Cochrane Library is widely acknowledged as the gold standard for evidence-based medicine. It provides detailed reviews of cutting-edge medical research, allowing doctors and policymakers to make informed decisions. It literally impacts millions of healthcare patients worldwide. Just to give you some data points on the site, there is about 1.2 million trials, 10,000 reviews, and over 52 different categories of content, such as oncology, pregnancy, infectious disease, and child health as examples. This was a major upgrade from the existing version and included integrating all of the content from multiple domains into a single site, including long-form analysis, medical trials, editorials, and clinical information. So now medical professionals are able to search across all data sets using a sophisticated search engine leveraging taxonomies such as MESH. So a good example of that would be a leukemia researcher who is out looking for different information on leukemia, and they find related content that they may not have come across before because they may have been looking at one particular site with one particular content type, and now internal discovery is expanded because they're looking across multiple content sites. So those additional contents could be podcasts or special collections, not just necessarily journal articles. It's also tremendously efficient for the users who have been requesting this type of aggregated site, because now they don't have to move in and out of different sites in order to view all those different sources of content. So one site, all integrated content types in one place with one user experience. And it also, again, exposes the researcher to much more content because maybe they would have lived in one or two of those sites previously, and now they can see all types of related content in one single place. Springer has an aggregated content site, and they wanted to be able to make sure that they were showcasing, serving, and selling their range of books and journals. Some data points about Springer's site. There's about 425 books on the site today and adding about 5 new books a month. Over 8,000 chapters, 25 journals, and over 11,000 articles. And they're adding a lot of content daily, soon to becoming is reference works and also audio and video capability as well. So from a design perspective, they also want to make sure that the site had a bit more of a consumer look and feel because the primary constituents that they serve are slightly older nurse practitioners who are a little less tech savvy. So they wanted to create an environment and a user experience that was more familiar with some other sites that they may have been on in the consumer world. So that was part of the design principle. Again, all content types are integrated into this aggregated site to provide a common experience and expose users to all the different types of content that exist within Springer. Users can find a full range of this content, and they can also show up in a search situation. So in this example, the search term behavior has been put in, and you can see that there are chapters, books, and articles that have resulted from that search. In the past, people would have gone and looked at a particular area just to see that search show up for books as an example, and they may never have left that domain. They may have stayed just and looked within the books area. Now at least they get a chance to see other content across different domains, all aggregated into one particular site. So that increases internal discovery and also increases revenue generation as those individuals get exposed to content that they may not have been exposed to before. Another thing that they commented on that Springer found to be very useful was HighWire Express, which is our content ingestion engine. Just a data point for all of our customers, HighWire Express processes 99.9% of all the content without HighWire having to intervene at all. What Springer really liked about this was that fact, but they also liked the self-service capability that they're experiencing. The ability to load content, receive validation reports, make adjustments or corrections to the content and redeliver, and then ultimately publish at a time of their choosing. They came over to us from a competitor's site, and what their experience had been is that they weren't able to have that self-service capability, the visibility throughout the process, and the reporting of the progress throughout that life cycle, and ended up having to publish and then go back and correct errors afterwards. So they found that this greatly improved the quality of their content, and they love the fact that this is all done in a very easy self-service environment where they have total control over the process of content ingestion and ultimate publishing at a time of their choosing. It also has very robust reporting, and they found that to be fantastic because they can get a sense of how the content from their provider is improving over time or just what that trajectory is. And they're leveraging hosting with us as well as e-commerce and our Sigma identity management and access control product. The American Society of Hematology has published Blood, which is the most cited peer-reviewed journal in its field, and they've been publishing that since 1946. ASH did some good analysis leveraging ImpactVisor, and it provided them with some critical insights into the decision to launch a new journal called Blood Advances. This is the first journal to join the Blood family in 70 years, and it is a peer-reviewed, online-only, open-access journal, which is addressing new readership and positioning them for future growth. Recognized as the definitive guide to clinical nursing skills for over 30 years, the Royal Marsden Manual is leveraged by over 100 different NHS trusts and universities. The reference work on the site was designed specifically for nurses, providing point-of-care information and best practices for patient care. It's built on the HighWire Intelligent Platform, leveraging SAM Sigma as well from an identity management and access control standpoint. And the site goes well beyond just information retrieval because they can add value to the content by easily going in through a self-service capability and editing the content and then making that content display according to a user login. So it's customized to the user that logs in, and their home screen and the information can be modified very easily through a self-service window to do that. They've also incorporated a hero panel, which is used to allow the local institution to place news messages on the home page as well. Here's an example of a couple you won't be able to read this, but I'll point out a couple of the areas where they've been able to create uniqueness for the user login. So the banner on the top, which is a green banner, basically is a system-wide message that they were able to go in and just within minutes input. And what that highlights is that there was a discrepancy in a particular procedure between the print version and the online version. And what they note there is that the discrepancy has been settled and stated in the online version, so that referencing people to go to the online version to make sure they have the correct procedure. So that would be a general statement that would go across everyone who logged into the system. But the pink box is saying, please be aware that elevator 58 will be unavailable this morning due to routine maintenance. So that's very specific to a location. And hopefully they should have put in there that for the people on the 20th floor, they're going to be serving water halfway up, because on a day like this, that's going to be a tough, long, hot journey. So that would be an example of a message that they put in for the users only in that specific location. Here you can also get a visibility into the Hero panel, where it shows local news, which is Hampshire Hospital's annual general meeting. That content within the Hero panel can also be edited very easily, and here you get a good insight into the easy self-service window where they can go in and make those adjustments. This also relates to the procedures that they prescribe. So if you are associated with, if the Royal Marsden Manual is associated with a trust in the north of England, they may have specific procedures that are recommended for, in this case, an abdominal examination, and those may differ from a trust's procedures in the south of England. So the site is designed such that when the users log in, according to what geographic area they're in or which jurisdiction they're in, then they receive the appropriate procedures for that particular site. So again, they could also launch a general message and do it very quickly. So a good example of that might be prior to May 25th, making sure that there is a message in there saying, when you check in a new patient, make sure you're respecting all of the GDPR guidelines that we've outlined as an organization. So these are, again, examples of how they can customize the content through a very easy self-service capability, and then customize it to the user logins based on jurisdiction or specific location, with procedures and or general messaging and or the Hero panel, which has localized news items. Very cool stuff. The American Academy of Neurology, they did some extensive research with their users, and what they found is that the neurologists want to stay on top of research, but they find it very challenging to do so. And one of the reasons is because the long form articles take a lot of time for them to get through, and they just don't have the ability to kind of quickly scan through and get a snapshot of what content is most relevant to them. The American Academy of Neurology sought to put together a short form print version of the articles, which would link back to the long form version online. We've had experience doing this with a number of other publishers, so we were able to bring some best practices to the table with them and walk them through that process. And we accomplished this by modifying their site to support discovery and the use of a common DOI. The feedback that they've had since they've made this change has been fantastic, and they've had great feedback from the association members. The print readers can quickly absorb the one-page summaries and then dive into the full article online as needed. They've also found that it's increased discovery, because now people have a little bit more time to scan through the one-page articles and perhaps engage in some content that might be outside of what they would normally take a look at, because they have the ability to move through it in a more efficient, fast format. The other thing that's kind of an interesting note is that advertisers also prefer this format, so that's very important. The last thing that I wanted to share with you is kind of a feel-good, but something that we're very proud of. HighWire won an award this year for being the best place to work in 2018. I think this is a really good testament to the employees at HighWire, because they're the people that create the culture. So I want to share with you one, because we're really proud of it. I think it's a great accomplishment. We won this by the employees submitting anonymous reviews into the organization that does this rating. It's a well-respected award globally, not just in North America. And again, I think I wanted to give you a sense of the quality of people that you're dealing with at HighWire, because I think that they have created a fantastic culture, and we're really proud of this award. Thanks very much for your time today, and have a great conference.